the thing is, it's a matter of perspective. Either you can have a short-term perspective or a long-term perspective. Okay, so working is for always some sort of perspective, and obviously in this day and age, people work for the short-term perspective. Okay, everyone has to survive on Earth. That's right. Okay, that's you have to survive. And if you are not surviving physically out here, you can't do anything. Anyways, you can't do any work, really.
No,
So the question of work goes out of the window if you don't survive, right? That's number one. Okay, after that, the perspective comes into play. Like, what is the perspective? Do you have any long-term perspective? For long-term perspective, you have to know that, like, you're a spirit or your being which will outlive this body. Then when this body finishes, you will still be alive. Then only concept of work comes in for long term. That what will happen to that spirit, what will be the future of that. And when you go into these kind of ways, that you get out of the current short term perspective of right now, right here, getting something just in the present. Okay, so important thing is the perspective. You have to have a longer term perspective to work for the long term. If you work in alignment with the divine force, why would you do that? You would do that so that when your spirit leaves this body and your being, then you will have a better future existence than the present current one. Okay, there's still a goal. There is still a long term thing, like a perspective on it. Without that, it is the grind of this matrix. What they call the grind, where people just work for immediate things here. And even when they work for that, it doesn't really give them anything, because everything here disappears fast. Like, it comes, it goes, comes, goes. So nothing is permanent here. It's very temporary, everything. So this is just a matter of not having that perspective. And that perspective should be taught in, again, schools. Very beginning, that you are a being and you'll outlast this body, but and this kind of thing. But this is not taught, right, in the in any education system. So beings have a very narrow short-term perspective, which leads to all this not knowing what to work for, basically. What should I work for? What am I working for? So that's where the confusion actually comes from. Yeah, for
yeah,
that, this knowledge is necessary, that the spirit will carry on and the body is going to end. And, this knowledge and this thing is very much required, like, as a whole. Like, it should be basic education. I think it's basic education 101 for any human being.